You ever hear something that wasn't supposed to exist? I don't mean a weird animal call or a bump in the attic. I mean a sound so wrong your body just freezes, like your bones recognize something your brain can't. That's how it started for me. It's been 12 years since I left Ashbrook, but I still hear her. Sometimes, in dreams, in wind, in silence too thick to breathe through. She's still there. And if you go looking for her, you might not come back the same. You might not come back at all. Ashbrook's the kind of town you forget about, unless you were born there. Population just under 2,000, one school, one gas station, one diner with a jukebox that hasn't worked right since the 90s. I grew up on the south side of town, near the woods. The kind that don't look special until you're inside them, and then everything starts to feel off. Not like you're being watched, worse. Like the trees are trying not to look at you. Like they're holding their breath. The local kids called that stretch of forest the back reach. My dad called it God's blind spot. I didn't get what he meant until after what happened. I was 17. I had a brother, Elijah, 10 years old, all scraped knees and frog catching. He followed me everywhere, until the day he didn't. It was June, hot enough to scald a lizard. We were supposed to be home before dark, but Elijah begged me to show him the old train car deep in the woods, the one covered in rust and moss, half swallowed by vines. Some kids said it was haunted. I just liked the silence. We made it there fine. We were sitting on top, watching the sky dim, when we heard crying. A child. Far off. Too far. I remember Elijah's head snapped towards it. He whispered, "Is that a baby?" But the sound didn't fit. It was looping like a tape too worn down. It didn't rise, it didn't fall. It just was. And when I said we should go, that's when we saw her. We saw her at the tree line, standing too still, not walking, not swaying, just standing. She was wearing what looked like a hospital gown, thin, yellowed fabric that hung off her like wet paper. Her hair was black and stringy, like moss pulled from a swamp. And her face, God. There wasn't one. There should have been eyes. A nose. But it was just skin, stretched smooth where a face should be. And below that, her mouth was sewn shut. Black thread. Sloppy, like a child did it. The stitches crisscrossed her lips and knotted tight at her jawline. But even with her mouth sewn shut, I swear to you I could hear her. It was soft at first, barely more than a breath, but it scraped something inside me. A tune that didn't belong in this world. And Elijah, he started to walk toward her, like he wasn't even choosing to, like the sound had its own gravity. I grabbed him. I screamed at him. He looked at me, eyes wide, but glazed over and said, "She wants us to help her finish her song." That's when I ran, dragging him. He fought me at first, like whatever was in her was trying to crawl into him, but I didn't stop until we made it home. We didn't sleep that night, and we didn't talk about it, but it wasn't over. The next morning, Elijah was different. He wouldn't eat, wouldn't talk. He kept humming that same broken tune, and I swear, there was thread on his pillow. Black, thick, and wet. I tried to tell my parents. tried to act like everything was fine when they said he had a summer flu. But he didn't have a fever. He had something inside him. He stopped speaking entirely by the third day. And then one night, I woke up to find him standing in my doorway, holding a sewing needle. He looked at me, blank, and she says I don't need my voice anymore. That night changed something. After he stood in my doorway, whispering about losing his voice, he stopped humming, stopped making any sound at all. He wouldn't respond when I spoke, not even a nod, just that same vacant stare, like he was listening to something far away or something inside him. I hid the sewing needle. Told myself it was sleepwalking. Told myself kids go through weird phases. But then I found the thread again. On the windowsill. Black, twisted, still damp. And there were marks on Elijah's arms. Not scratches, not bruises. Punctures. Small ones. 2 or 3 at a time, always in a line, like something had been weaving. On the 5th night, the humming came back. Not from Elijah this time, from outside. It floated in through the vents, soft and deliberate, like someone humming to themselves while they worked. And then I realised. It was the same tune Elijah had hummed. The same one from the woods. I pressed my ear to the wall. Nothing. To the floor. Nothing. And then I crept to his room. He was sitting up in bed, eyes open, just staring at the corner, mouth closed. But the thread, it was coming from his lips, spooling out slowly, black and slick like oil, coiling across his bedsheet like a vine. I froze. He turned to me and mouthed something. Not said, mouthed. She's almost done. The next morning, Elijah was gone. No one in town knew where he'd gone. My parents called the sheriff. The search lasted 3 days. But I knew where he was. I could feel it. That same pressure behind my eyes, that bone-deep wrongness. I went back into the woods, alone. The sun was setting, painting everything blood orange and black. I found the train car again, empty. But the trees weren't quiet this time. Her voice. It wasn't a voice. It was hundreds, all layered and distant. A chorus of needle and bone. He was easier to love than you. He let me in. Now you will too. She reached for me. My knees buckled, my mouth filled with iron, and in that moment, I understood what she was. Not a ghost, not a spirit, a hunger. She feeds on sound, on speech, on memory. She takes your voice, and then she rewrites your story. I had one choice. I took the knife I brought, just a small one meant for branches, and I ran forward. Not at her, at Elijah. I grabbed him, cut the threads from his face, he screamed, and it was real. And the scream, it shattered the clearing. The trees groaned, the threads snapped back like rubber bands. She shrieked, this awful gurgling noise like 100 mouths trying to scream through one throat. And then she was gone. Elijah collapsed in my arms. He was shaking, sobbing, bleeding from the mouth where the thread had torn free. But he was himself. He whispered my name over and over like he was afraid he'd forget it. Like if he stopped saying it, she'd come back. I carried him out of the woods. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how long it took. When we got to the edge of town, the sky was already lightening. We both looked behind us, and the path we came through was gone. Just trees. No clearing, no rusted train car, no sign that she'd ever been real. But we knew better. The doctors said Elijah had experienced a psychotic episode, said the stitching was self-inflicted, said the memory loss was trauma. But they couldn't explain the thread they pulled from his throat. They couldn't explain why it writhed in the pan like something alive, why it turned to ash when the sun hit it. Elijah recovered, mostly. He doesn't talk much now. His voice came back, but it's quieter, like he's afraid to use too much of it, afraid she might still be listening. He won't go near the woods. He sleeps with music playing, even when he naps. And sometimes, I swear I hear him hum that same old tune in his sleep. Just for a second, before he wakes up screaming. I left Ashbrook not long after that. Moved far, changed my name, tried to bury everything. But a few months ago, I got a package. No return address. Inside was a roll of black thread, old, sticky, still wet. Wrapped around it, a slip of paper, in Elijah's handwriting. She says you never finished your part. If you hear her humming, don't answer, don't speak, don't even think about singing along, because she doesn't want your help. She wants your silence. She wants your name. And if she gets it, you'll never speak for yourself again.